The movie begins at a lake called Salmokji. We see a couple camping and fishing by the lake. Suddenly, their camp light goes out. The girl tells her boyfriend that she'll go check on the light. The boyfriend is busy fishing. After a while, he sees his girlfriend walking toward the lake and stepping into the water. He follows her into the lake to stop her. But just then, his girlfriend calls out to him from behind and asks what he's doing. The boyfriend realizes that his girlfriend never entered the water, meaning the figure he was following was something else entirely, and that figure in the lake vanishes instantly. Then, the boy sees a female ghost in the lake. The ghost drags him underwater. The girl jumps in after him to save him. You can imagine what happens to them next. The story then jumps ahead a few days. We meet a young woman named Soin, who works as a director, PD, at a company. She's sleeping when she suddenly hears a voice repeatedly calling out, "Lake." She wakes up with a worried expression, as if she's troubled by something. Soin works for a company that collects images and prepares location data for Google Maps. They go to places that aren't yet on Google Maps, take 360-degree photos, measure various information, and prepare them for upload. Everything must be done with extreme precision. There's no room for error. That day is the weekend, so most employees are off. But suddenly, the company director calls an emergency meeting. Earlier, they had sent Captain Yu and his team to take photos of Salmokji Lake, but the photos they took were extremely strange and frightening. Some of the images showed things that terrified everyone. As a result, the company's CEO and Google are putting immense pressure on them, asking how such photos could have been uploaded. The strangest part is that the photos were uploaded without anyone's approval. Normally, in such projects, every photo is reviewed before being published. But these images were uploaded suddenly. Later, the director manages to remove them. Even more astonishingly, the photos were uploaded using the company's name, even though no one at the company approved them. To avoid lawsuits, fines, or bans, they need to quickly re-verify the entire area's location, GPS data, and other information. In the meeting, everyone is shown the photos. They reveal a terrifying female ghost standing in the water of Salmokji Lake. Google doesn't want such images on Google Maps, so they order them removed. The director also mentions that the photos show no signs of editing, Photoshop, or AI, meaning they're completely real. So the question arises, what exactly was captured in those photos? Now, their new task is to send someone back to the lake to take fresh photos, so they can upload normal images to Google Maps. The area's roads and directions still aren't properly mapped. The director asks someone from the team to go to Salmokji Lake and take new photos. But no one wants to go, as it's the weekend. That's when Soin volunteers to go herself. The director is surprised because Soin was supposed to have time off, but she says duty comes first. The real reason, however, is different. Soin was originally supposed to go herself, but she sent her colleague Captain Yu instead. Captain Yu went to take photos at Salmokji Lake, but since that day, he's been missing. He wasn't answering calls or messages, and he didn't return to the office. Others thought he might just be sick. Outside the office, Soin runs into her ex-boyfriend Kitty. He warns her not to go to Salmokji Lake because it's very dangerous. But Soin doesn't listen. She says he should have shown this concern much earlier. We then meet the rest of the team going with Soin, two new members, Seo Chong and Chongbin, cameraman Kungchun, and his older brother Kungti. They pack their gear into a van and head for Salmokji Lake. On the way, Seo Chong shares various ghost stories about the lake, including the recent disappearance of the couple we saw at the beginning. Rumors say they both drowned, and their bodies were never found. Seo Chong adds that water ghosts are far more terrifying than ordinary ghosts. They lure people into the water and drown them. Once you fall into their trap, there's no escape. Hearing this, Kungchun laughs and says he used to work in a special Navy rescue unit. He's not afraid of drowning, and he claims he can swim faster than any ghost. Seo Chong explains that long ago, this area was an ancient burial ground. Later, the government submerged the entire area without relocating the graves. So the spirits of the buried dead still wander the lake. It's said that countless spirits came together to create the lake. Even the lake's name means the bridge or crossing between life and death. Kungchun dismisses all these stories as made up, but Soin's worried expression suggests she knows something, as if she believes these tales have truth to them. After driving for a while, they reach the lake. While parking, they suddenly notice a stone tower. Strangely, it seemed to appear out of nowhere, and their van bumps into it from behind. The structure looks like a shrine or altar, with a roof on top. As they move the van, some stones fall down. Just then, an old woman appears and scolds So-in and her team. The old woman says she once fell into the lake and barely escaped with her life. But when she looks at So-in, she suddenly falls silent. Even more oddly, she seems to know that So-in has come looking for someone. She gives So-in a stone and tells her to place it on the tower. If the stone doesn't fall, her wish will come true, a common Korean folk belief. When So-in places the stone on the tower, a black, terrifying hand suddenly grabs hers, but vanishes in an instant. No one else sees it, so So-in thinks she imagined it. The old woman then leaves and tells the others to also place stones on the tower and make wishes for their own well-being. One thing is clear, the old woman was shocked to see So-in, as if she'd seen a ghost. So-in then tells everyone to unload their equipment. They've brought an inflatable boat. So-in wants to finish the work quickly and leave, but she senses the others have different intentions. When a box falls to the ground, many earthworms spill out. Kung-ti had brought them as fishing bait. Meanwhile, Seo-chong and Chongbin have their own plans. Seo-chong reveals he has a YouTube channel where he uploads videos about ghosts and supernatural events. They're more interested in finding mysterious phenomena than doing the actual job. So-in gets very angry. She tells everyone they must finish the assigned work first. After that, they can do whatever they want. They start searching for the exact location where the ghostly woman appeared in the Google Maps photos, using GPS. But the problem is that the photo's GPS location suddenly disappears. Not only that, but their GPS device also stops working. It's as if the road and the entire location have been erased from the map. Just then, Captain Yu suddenly appears. He snatches the GPS device from So-in's hand and throws it away. Miraculously, the device starts working again afterward. Captain Yu says the same thing happened to him last time. So-in is happy to see him safe and sound, but his behavior is strange. When she asks where he's been, he just gives a mysterious smile and says he'll tell her later. Meanwhile, Chongbin and Seo-chong are taking pictures near the lake. They notice some unusual things. A stone resembling a tombstone on the shore, and a reflection in the water that doesn't match anyone present. They attach a 360-degree camera to Kung-ti's back and send him into the forest to map the area. So-in watches the monitor, observing every movement. At one point, she sees a shadowy female figure standing on the path Kung-ti is taking, but it disappears in an instant. Later, she sees it again and tells Kung-ti to return via walkie-talkie. But Kung-ti ignores her, thinking she's mistaken, and keeps going. Eventually, he sees the shadowy figure moving very fast by the lake. Curious, he goes to the water's edge. He then notices something terrifying. Even though he moves, his reflection in the water remains still. Still, he tries to convince himself it's an illusion. Meanwhile, So-in sees another figure exactly like Kung-ti approaching him from behind on the monitor. She tries to warn him, but Kung-ti turns off his walkie-talkie in irritation. Suddenly, an object like a human head falls onto him. Startled, he slips and falls into the lake. When no response comes, So-in rushes over. She sees a large, tangled mass of hair floating on the water, like someone's head. Curious, she steps into the water to investigate. But Kung-ti stops her. Kung-ti is trembling with fear. He tells everyone that a real human head fell on him. Later, Kung-chun finds the object. Inside the clump of hair is a bowl of rice. He throws it to the ground, shattering it, and rice scatters everywhere. It was likely part of a religious offering, but Kung-ti insists that the head that fell on him was a real human head. Later, when they examine the photos and videos, they see clumps of hair hanging from various trees. Seo-chong explains that these are traces of a dark ritual, meant to summon the lake's spirits. Hearing this, So-in becomes very frightened. She calls the director and says they'll finish the job another day. But the director threatens to fire them all, so So-in has no choice but to continue. Another problem arises. The 360-degree camera Kung-ti was using fell into the lake and is ruined. The director is sending a new one, but it won't arrive until nightfall. Kung-ti, terrified, wants to leave immediately, firmly believing that a severed head fell on him. Then Captain Yu announces that Kung-ti probably dropped the GPS device into the lake as well. Without the device, all their photos are worthless because they can't be geotagged. So Captain Yu decides that Kung-ti and Kung-chun must go back into the lake to find it. Later, So-in's ex-boyfriend Ki-ti calls and says he's coming with the new 360-degree camera. So-in tells him they found Captain Yu. At the lake, So-in stands alone by the water. Suddenly, Captain Yu sneaks up behind her and startles her. So-in asks again where he's been, but Captain Yu doesn't answer. Instead, he says the wish So-in made when she placed the stone on the tower has come true. This makes So-in even more uncomfortable. Before she can ask more, Kung-Ti and Kung-chun return, saying they still can't find the GPS device. Captain Yu then takes Kung-Ti back out to search for it. Night falls. Chongbin has brought a special camera that supposedly detects supernatural presences. If a ghost is nearby, stick-like figures or outlines appear on the camera, but so far nothing shows up. So-in is very anxious because Captain Yu and Kung-Ti have suddenly disappeared. She keeps calling Captain Yu. Eventually, she hears his phone ringing and follows the sound, almost stepping into the lake. At that moment, she steps on a memory card. It's Captain Yu's. When they check the photos on the memory card, they're astonished. One photo shows the stone tower standing in the middle of the lake, even though the tower was actually on shore. Looking closer, So-in realizes Captain Yu was trying to destroy the tower. Then Kiti calls So-in with terrifying news. Captain Yu wasn't missing, he was in the hospital. And worst of all, he died last night. The signal cuts off immediately. So-in is in disbelief. She then realizes that from the very beginning, Captain Yu's behavior was abnormal. His eerie smile, his mysterious words, his talk of wishes coming true. It all indicated he was no longer human, but a spirit. Unaware of this, Kung-chun and the others are throwing stones into the lake for fun. But the splashing sounds don't stop. It's as if the sound will continue forever. Suddenly, something flies out of the lake and hits their only camping light, plunging everything into darkness. Using their phone flashlights, they see it's a dead crow. Everyone is frightened. Then, something even more terrifying happens. Seo Chung's bag starts emitting static noise. He says it's coming from his so-called ghost radio, which has never behaved like this before. Trembling, he takes out the radio. A voice comes through. "How many of you are there?" Kung-chun thinks someone is joking. He challenges the voice, saying if it's really a dead spirit, then prove it, for instance, by throwing that dead crow. But the voice just repeats, "Your actions caused my death." Hearing this, So-in panics. She turns off the radio and splits everyone into pairs to search for Captain Yu and Kung-Ti. So-in goes with Kung-chun, Chongbin and Seo Chong go together. Meanwhile, Captain Yu has led Kung-Ti into the middle of the lake without Kung-Ti realizing how far he's gone. Then Captain Yu vanishes. Terrified, Kung-Ti shines his torch around and sees a shadowy figure disappear. When he shines the light on the water, he's horrified to see countless dead heads floating in the lake, slowly surrounding him. Then a female ghost rises from the water and attacks him. On the other side, Chongbin and Seo Chong's special camera captures a ghost that looks exactly like Captain Yu, placing a stone on the tower. So-in, without realizing it, has also walked into the lake. Kung-chun reaches there too and finds Kung-Ti's body hanging from a tree. Devastated, he starts crying. The same female ghost then attacks Chongbin and Seo Chong, who flee to So-in and Kung-chun. Meanwhile, Kiti finally arrives at the area with the new camera but gets lost. He comes across a house with a shrine-like structure outside. The door suddenly opens, and someone shoves an old woman out. Kiti helps her up. It's the same old woman from earlier, the one who was shocked to see So-in. But Kiti doesn't notice that the hand that pushed her has completely black fingers. The old woman says the woman inside is her daughter, who once fell into Salmokji Lake but somehow survived. Ever since, her personality has completely changed. She's unnaturally aggressive. Before Kiti can ask for directions, the old woman tells him that she knows he's going to Salmokji Lake, just as she knew So-in came looking for someone. Back at the lake, Kung-chun is consumed with grief and rage, blaming Captain Yu for his brother's death. So-in finally tells him the truth. The real Captain Yu is already dead. The one they'd been seeing is a vengeful spirit wearing his form. Suddenly, Captain Yu appears again, clacking two stones together as if to provoke them. Kung-chun chases him into the lake, but when he grabs the figure, it's a horrifying, rotting corpse. The spirit then drags Kung-chun underwater and drowns him. So-in, Chongbin, and Seo Chong flee to the van, but the stone tower has disappeared. Their GPS is now working, but they keep ending up in the same place. They ignore the GPS and take random roads, but then Kiti suddenly appears, pounding on their window. At first they think he's a ghost, but he's real. They realize they've been driving straight into the lake. Kiti relays what the old woman told him. Anyone who falls into Salmokji Lake never returns alive, except for her daughter. When Kiti asked how she survived, the old woman gave him a stone and told him to place it on the tower and make a wish. Kitty explains that the stone can only grant wishes related to bringing back the dead or seeing the dead. Everyone then shares their wishes. Chongbin wished to be rich. It didn't come true. Seo Chong says he didn't make a wish, but his face shows fear. Soin theorizes that Captain Yu might have escaped the lake because his wish was granted, which is why he tried to destroy the tower. But now the tower has moved to the middle of the lake. To lighten the mood, Kitty and Soin go to get drinks. While they're gone, Chongbin asks Seo Chong what he really wished for. Trembling, Seo Chong admits he wished to see a real ghost at least once in his life. Chongbin panics, saying that if the wish came true, then one of them might be a ghost or possessed. They start suspecting Soin, since she knew so much and was always warning them. Meanwhile, Seo Chong notices that time has stopped. It's 1:30 a.m. and isn't moving. Frightened, they both flee in the van. Soin and Kitty try to stop them, but it's no use. After driving a while, water starts pouring onto their windshield. Then a severed head slams into it. In terror, they speed on and eventually reach a highway, where they see two police officers and ask for help. One officer helps Chongbin with the van. The other stays with Seo Chong, asking questions. But the officer's questions are exactly the same as those from the ghost radio. The voice is identical too. Seo Chong looks closely at the officer. His eyes are glowing red. He realizes, this is not a human, it's a ghost. And this is exactly what he wished for, to see a real ghost. Meanwhile, Chongbin finds that he's actually standing in the middle of the lake, and the officer beside him is the vengeful spirit. The spirit kills him instantly. Back at the lake, Kitty and Soin find Seo Chong's iPad near Kung Ti's body, with Captain Yu's memory card. The photos show that the stone tower is now on the other side of the lake. Then, over the walkie-talkie, they hear Seo Chong's terrified scream. They rush to find Seo Chong hiding under a car. As Soin tries to pull him out, they see Chongbin sitting in the driver's seat, but he's possessed. The car starts moving. Kitty manages to pull Soin out, but Seo Chong is crushed under the car and dies. Chongbin then gets out, twists his neck unnaturally, gives a horrible grin, and also dies. Now, their only option is to destroy the stone tower. Kitty prepares to cross the lake on the inflatable boat, but Soin becomes suspicious. Kitty only just arrived, so how does he know about the boat and where it's stored? Then comes the shocking twist. The Kitty with her is not Kitty. It's the same vengeful spirit that previously disguised itself as Captain Yu. The spirit tells Soin that she was the one who was supposed to come to Salmokji Lake, but she sent Captain Yu instead, which is why he died. Just then, Soin sees the real Kitty standing on the shore, shouting for her not to believe the spirit. The spirit then vanishes after telling Soin to lure Kitty into the lake, just as she lured the others. When Soin reaches for the boat paddle, the spirit drags her underwater. Kitty jumps in to save her. Underwater, Kitty sees countless dead bodies standing in rows like soldiers. He struggles desperately to save Soin, but the spirit grabs him too. Then, Soin surfaces and manages to get out of the lake on the other side. The stone tower is right in front of her. She starts destroying it. The spirit's hand reaches out from inside the tower and grabs her, but Soin pulls on the ropes wrapped around the tower and tears them down. The entire tower collapses. Soin is buried under the rubble. Later, Kitty escapes the lake and sees that Soin has survived as well, but her behavior has changed, just like the old woman described about her daughter. The story jumps ahead a few days. At the office, the director tells Kitty an astonishing fact. Captain Yu didn't die in the hospital. He died in the lake. The previous information was wrong, so Captain Yu never left the lake alive. That means the figure they saw all along was his ghost or a malevolent spirit wearing his form. This shatters Soin's theory. If Captain Yu never actually escaped, then destroying the tower might not have been the solution. Instead, it might have been the very thing keeping the spirits trapped. By destroying it, Soin may have set the evil spirit free or made it stronger. Then Kitty goes to Soin. She's standing silently. Suddenly, dirty water like that of Salmokji Lake starts pouring from the sink. And then comes the movie's biggest twist. Kitty realizes he never actually left the lake. He finds himself standing back inside Salmokji Lake, and he sees Soin's ghost in the water. Soin's spirit reminds him, "Don't believe everything you see.